Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your life and you thought, on paper, I should feel real good, right? But something just feels off. I mean, you're working, you're providing, and you're handling your responsibilities, and you're doing everything you should be doing as a man, right? And yet, there's this quiet frustration that shows up when nobody's around. So today, we're going to be talking about why so many men feel lost even when life looks good. And the truth, most men were never taught about identity. I remember a season in my life when I was doing everything right. I was working, I was taking care of my responsibilities, and I was trying to be a good husband, being that good father. You know what I mean? And from the outside, it was looking fine. But inside, I felt stuck and I felt like something just was missing and I couldn't explain what it was. And that feeling, it really confused me because I thought, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a man, then why don't I feel fulfilled? And that right there is where a lot of men live. It's not that they don't hate their lives, but they don't even feel alive either. Here's the truth that most men never hear. You can do all the right things and you still feel lost because most men were taught roles, but they were never taught about identity. What we were taught is to be a provider. We were taught to be responsible. We was taught to be, strong and taught to be dependable. And I'm not saying any of those things are wrong, but here's the problem. When your entire identity becomes what you do, you really lose sight of who you are. And when that happens, life turns into a performance. It's like you wake up, you perform, and you repeat. You continue the cycle over and over and over again. And after years of that cycle, a quiet question starts to show up in your life. Is this all there is? You see, this confusion actually makes sense when you look at scripture. My favorite book in Genesis 1:26-27 says we were made in God's image. And notice what God did first. He gave identity before assignment. He gave identity before work. He gave identity before responsibility. He gave identity before roles. You see, identity came first, but most men experience life in reverse. We get responsibilities first. The pressure mounts up. We got these expectations we got to fulfill. And then we find our identity in these things that we're trying to do in life. We're expected to figure that out somewhere along the way. And that's a mismatch that creates confusion because responsibility without identity always leads to frustration. This is why a man can have a job and feel lost, have a family and still feel lost, have responsibilities and still feel lost. Because deep down, he's asking questions he's never been taught to answer. Who am I really? Why was I created? What am I actually here for? And when those questions don't get answered, life starts to feel like a repetition instead of direction. You start living on autopilot, and autopilot eventually turns into emptiness. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you slowed down long enough to ask, who am I beyond what I do? Who am I beyond my job? Who am I beyond my responsibilities, beyond my expectations? Because if these questions never get answered, then confusion becomes normal. And most men just learn how to live with it. And this is exactly what I created in the Who Am I 7-day audio experience. Because identity isn't something you figure out overnight. It's something that you build on one truth at a time. So if this conversation hits home, the link will be in the description below. And in the next video, we're going to go deeper. We're going to talk about the roles men were taught to chase and why those roles were never meant to define you. So stay locked in. You're not lost. You're just starting on your journey.